Hi, I'm Skinny Cheeks. Today I'll be going over the slivers of the Null Arca DPS set. Some of you may already be aware of the buffs that this set received, but for everyone else, let's start at the top. This is the new medium trial set that comes out of Lucent Citadel. When we originally tested it, Null Arca was a very underperforming set on the test server. For a single target damage proc, it just simply wasn't doing enough damage to be worth it over other options that we had access to. It was somewhere around 75% or so of what you'd get from a set like Pillar of Nirn. This was reported, and I was excited when we saw in the patch notes for week 5 on the PTS a nice 37% buff to this set. Well, not long after the week 5 PTS came up, reports started coming in that the set was still not good, still wasn't doing enough DPS, so it looked like it was mostly just going to be a disappointing entry into the new sets we had available. But as it turns out, that buff never actually made it onto the test server. So let's look at the base tooltip for this set. That means no skill points spent in anything, just a naked character with the base 1000 weapon and spell damage. Looking at what is on the live servers and what is currently on the PTS, you'll see on live the tooltip is 1799 damage, while on the PTS it's only 1311. This is that 37% buff they said was happening in those week 5 PTS patch notes. So what does that mean for this set? Well, it's doing really good single target damage now. Big thanks to Octorion for letting me share his Dragonknight parse here. I'll have his YouTube channel linked down below. He has some nice parses on there. He got a really good damage overall here at 132k DPS, and Null Arca was doing 9k DPS out of that. This is pretty similar to what you'd see from a set like Reliquin, except Null Arca is not burdened with that stamina line for the perfected bonus, and instead has a nice weapon and spell damage line. It also works really well as a front barred set since it has a proc that goes on a cooldown similar to something like Pillar of Nirn, whereas Reliquin can be front barred, but it's a bit more of a pain, and a lot of other trial sets are just static bonuses that fall off when you're on the back bar. So this worked really nicely for Octorion paired with the set Highland Sentinel, since that one has to be bodied, but there are other options too that would work really nicely, like putting Rune Carver with it. Rune Carver is ideally always active so that you aren't missing any ticks from it, so just a nice new option we have now for a front bar trial set. It has also been discovered, since this set has been on the live server, that it can trigger in an AoE if that third critical hit from it, the one that triggers the Crystal Defier, simultaneously hits on multiple enemies. This doesn't seem like it's probably intended. The set reads enemy singular, not plural, but either way, unless you're only spamming one ability like Octorion is here, the chance of this actually hitting on multiple targets or even the desired targets, it's going to be all over the place. So I wouldn't really recommend it for AoE scenarios. And that really leads us into the big drawback with this set, and that is controlling the crystal's target. So this triggers from critical damage dealt, but it's any crit damage, including your AoEs and your dots. So in an actual encounter, you could find the crystal consistently firing at enemies that are not the main target. If there is truly only one target in the fight, it will be really reliable to use this, but in fights with multiple targets, if you have a main target you want to hit, you won't be able to super reliably. And if there are multiple priority targets, well, this set won't be reliable to hit on all of them either, as the crits that trigger it won't always go off at the same time on all of the targets. So to sum that all up, we have a really nice single target damage trial set here. Probably can outperform Reliquin for some setups and scenarios, but it will be a bit more niche as it can be unreliable where the damage goes out to if there is more than one target being hit. And the AoE feature of it is also not really something that you can rely on. But either way, it's still much better than the version we saw on the PTS, so it could be a very nice one to grab to use situationally for single target boss encounters. But that's going to do it for this one. Just wanted to go over the changes here with y'all and make sure everyone was up to date on the current state of this set. Thank you so much for watching. I want to give a big shout out to my current Patreon supporters and YouTube members. The memberships really help a ton to keep this channel and the website going. Can't thank y'all enough. And a special thanks to Nicholas, Simon, Cougars Bay and the Cougar City Guild, the Order of War Guild, Cantankerous Cat, Shady, Iffy, Blake1816, Mordecai1212, Santanico, Vidridi, Florian, Phoenix, Nalandia, Unemployed, Chryseliana, Cha-Cha, Technical KO, Cap, Danco77, Pletpron, and Cladic. Thanks again, and see you later. Bye.